Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mission Success Women in Multifamily, the monthly podcast series dedicated to powerful female leaders in the multifamily industry. I'm Multi-Housing News Senior Editor Laura Kalugar, and you're listening to the last episode of this series in 2024. This month, you'll get to know a woman who has founded a company that focuses on mixed income developments for people with essential jobs, such as healthcare workers, educators, emergency responders, law enforcement, and military personnel. Katy Slade is the principal of Mintwood Real Estate, a development company based in Dallas. Together, we'll talk about why it's critical to develop mixed income communities. Hi, Katy. Welcome to Mission Success.
Hi, thank you. It's great to talk to you.
To get to know you as a professional a bit better first, please tell me a bit about how you ended up in multifamily. I know you studied urban planning and real estate, but why did you pick this specific career path?
Well, my path was very meandering. In hindsight only, did it make sense? I was a swimmer and went to swim in college at Harvard and was there during the September 11th terrorist attacks and was fascinated by the topic of globalization and the impact of religion on our world. And it drove for me an interest in communities and in what drives people together.
Mm-hmm.
With that, I didn't know what to do with a degree in comparative religious studies and started to think about what my aptitudes are. And my father helped me with that a lot in understanding that I had great spatial awareness and puzzling skills, and that I needed to work on something that had tangible outcomes. And with that, I started to look into real estate and architecture and design and started to work then for an architecture firm in the marketing department at Skidmore, Owings and Merrill in order to get to know the field and what I wanted to do while I was
Mm-hmm.
applying for graduate school. And I ended up studying at University of Pennsylvania, as you mentioned, urban planning. And they have an incredible program that is a combination program with Wharton, where you can take finance and law courses and really get a rounded out education in really what I end up calling community building and civilization planning. And so that's how I round it all together with the religion piece in hindsight, although it made no sense at the time.
And then, many years after that, you founded your own company.
Yes, many years after that. So I love cities. I love what makes people come together in cities and the amount of diversity that is part of what cities are and how they thrive economically and socially. And I love walking around cities and being part of that community, and have been through that. I was really interested in mixed use development. And my first job after graduate school was for a group called Western Development Corporation, which is in Washington, D.C. And we did a lot of retail and mixed use development in D.C. And then I moved to Dallas, which was where I grew up, and started working for a company called Gables Residential. And Gables had purchased a retail company and was starting to do mixed use development. And so that was right up my alley and where my passions are.
Mm-hmm. And today, mixed use and mixed income developments are a huge part of what you do at Mintwood, your company. Why is it critical to develop such communities today? What's your experience so far?
So there is really a triple bottom line impact for neighborhoods that have mixed use and mixed income. Environmentally, the impact is that people are living close to where they work and minimizing their time on roads and traveling. Socially, the studies have shown how important it is for students to be part of school systems that have mixed income. And so it has families that are touching a broader range of income levels. And so
Mm-hmm.
there are a number of impacts that have long-term benefits for communities.
And one of your most talked about projects lately is Oakhouse. I read a lot about it, and I know the property recently opened. Who is now living there? What's the latest feedback you have from your residents?
Yeah, thank you for asking about that. It's a very exciting project, and it's 219 units. Half of the units are restricted for people that are making 80% of the area median income, which ranges based on the number of household members, but it can be between about $60,000 and $70,000 of income. And what we're finding is that the people who are living at Oakhouse are a wide range of people. We have teachers and nurses. We have people who work for the police department. One of our residents is a SWAT officer for the city of Dallas, and he loves living at our building because he's able to go for runs along the Trinity River. And then we have a very large fitness center and gym, and he handles his workouts there in our gym.
And what can you tell me about the second phase of Oak House? I searched the Yardy Matrix platform and I noticed you're planning an even more ambitious addition to the initial development.
That's right. This is not yet officially starting. Like many other people in real estate right now, we're working through the financing components of it, but we
Right.
have land under contract for across the street from Oakhouse for a project that we have since named Loma, which is Spanish for hill, which is consistent with that part of Dallas has a lot of topography. And Loma is 370 units, and half of it is restricted workforce housing. And we are hoping to get started on that this summer.
Workforce housing is exactly what's needed in the area, I imagine.
It is. There's so much growth that is happening, and so many apartments are being built, and housing costs are getting higher and higher. And so to be able to have a community where today the housing costs are similar to what market rents are, but over time the restriction will allow for the neighborhood to be future-proofed on rent growth so that there will always be options for people who are serving and living adjacent to that community to be able to live proximate to where they work.
And do you have other mixed income developments in the works or planned in Texas or in other states? I know you've built outside of Texas before.
We have a few others that we're in planning stages on. We also do conversions of office buildings to multifamily, and some of those are in areas that have tax improvement financing districts that have workforce component as part of it. But we like to do creative deal structures that are right in the middle of the city.
I also did a bit of research about you on your website, and your profile page said that you believe developers first hold the responsibility to serve neighborhoods. Why is that? Tell me more about how you evaluate the impact of your projects on the specific neighborhoods you built in.
Of course, one of the things that I have to be careful in saying is that it is tough to come in as a developer and tell a neighborhood what they need. And
Mhm.
so that is not where we're headed. What we like to do is sit down with community members and listen to what their needs are and what challenges they're running into. When we do that and start to talk to people who live in that neighborhood every day, so many things come out about what type of project would really benefit the neighborhood. And that doesn't mean that we can always, we can't always build all of the things, but one project that we worked on had the neighborhood really wanted just a nice park space. And so we added a small area where people could sit and talk. And then it also had a Whole Foods market in it. And people were very concerned. They really wanted a grocery store and needed a grocery store, but they were concerned about traffic. And so as we sat with the group that lived around it and started to think about what made sense, it became very clear that putting the loading and trash over on one area of the project and having the residential part of the project be in another area just became so clear. And it was through those conversations where we were able to come up with a great solution.
And when you look back to all your accomplishments so far, what are you most proud of? It could be a project, a specific moment, or a particular feeling at some point.
My favorite feeling at a project is opening day when we have the furniture in and the first people come in to experience what we've built, because so much of it changes and transforms from being an active construction site to all of a sudden needing to think about what it actually had uh, been intended to be, and all of the years of planning and work finally are at that moment. So there's no specific one. That's just my absolute favorite day of any deal.
Um, Tell me a bit about your hobbies. You mentioned swimming at the beginning of our conversation, but and is there anything else you do in your free time? Do you even have free time? I imagine it's difficult to be an entrepreneur.
That's you're right. Well, I have two daughters, and they're entering their preteen and teenage years, and so I have a lot of fun with them. My husband and daughters and I love to travel whenever we can, and we've had a lot of fun trying to take them around the world and have them see places beyond Dallas, Texas, and the bubbles that we can all live in. So we love travel. We love hiking and adventures, and they've gotten into surfing recently, which is a passion of mine, and I wish I could do it more, but I live in a landlocked area, and so we're having fun taking a lot of adventures with our family.
Is there anyone in particular in the industry, in the multifamily industry that you look up to? Who has had the greatest impact on your career so far?
We have had so many people impact Mintwood that it would be wrong to create a concise list or name a single person. What I've found through being an entrepreneur is how invaluable it is to have resources of people who are willing to share data, willing to share feedback, willing to be a sounding board. I would be remiss not to talk about our first sponsors on our first project, Tony Donna and Mary Hager with Thackeray Partners, which is now owned by Graystar. They were hugely important to what we're doing and what we have at Mintwood. Jonas Woods with Pack Elm and his interest in partnering with us on doing multifamily development for him while he's transforming downtown Dallas is also important. There's so many different people along the way also who have been willing to just sit down and talk and be a sounding board. And so that has really helped us do what we call weaving webs, where relationships today have a foundation that ends up becoming so beneficial over the long term because it's just about people who like to work together and see real estate in the same way.
How much has Mintwood grown since you started the business? Tell me a bit about your employees and how diverse the teams are.
Mintwood started in 2018, and my business partner was on the construction team at the company that we were at previously, and he and I were able to figure out how to have a lot of complementary skill sets to be able to get projects done efficiently. And so the two of us were Mintwood until 2022. And so for 4 years, we really were doing it all and touching it all because uh, we felt we wanted to make sure that we were building a company that was a secure platform for people to join before they came and impacted their families. We outsource a lot of what we do. We have a number of partners that are architects and asset managers and finance experts and property managers, all of the different teams that we couldn't be Mintwood without. Today, Mintwood is a team of just six. We call it our small but mighty team, and we all wear a lot of hats. We couldn't do it without everybody on our team.
And one final question. This is something I like to ask all of my guests on this show. What's your take on diversity, equity, and inclusion in the multifamily industry?
Well, in multifamily specifically, diversity, equity, inclusion is critical, mainly because we're building communities that are for all people, not just for the finance people or the construction people that we commonly run into in our industry. And if we don't step back as developers and think through what it is that we are doing and the purpose of who we are building for and make sure that we're listening, we are at risk of creating a bunch of vanilla boxes that are not actually beneficial for people and creating their homes.
Thank you so much, Katy, once again for accepting my invitation.
Thank you. This was fun.
Thank you all for listening. The next Mission Success episode will come online on the third week of January. But until then, you can check multihousingnews.com for the latest news, feature stories, and podcasts. And if you want to share your own voice with our audience, just click on the MHN Executive Council button at the bottom of our homepage. Till next year.